Good morning, all, and welcome to another edition of Saturday Coffee with Back to Basics Dog Training. Thank you all for joining me live or later on the replay. For my friends up in the Northeast, please be careful with this crappy weather I see you guys are getting up there. Stay safe. Keep in mind, please be careful with your dogs out there. There's a great post on Facebook this week that I saw reminding everybody that, a 5-foot fence. Good morning, Joan. With the snow drifting and all, that 5-foot fence could become a 2-foot fence or a 1-foot fence. So keep an eye on your fence lines if you're out. Make sure there's no drifting snow up alongside of it. Don't give your dog an escape route, basically, guys. So please be careful. Please be safe. Stay warm, and let's get going on it. So again, thank you for joining me live. I really appreciate it. And if you're here watching me now in live and living color or later on in the replay, shoot me a comment. Let me know you're watching, where you're watching from. And of course, if you have any questions, pop them in the comments. We'll get to them. Good morning, Michelle and Athena. Stay safe in the snow. I'm sure Athena's probably loving it. Mom, not so much. Good morning, Donna. How are you guys? I'm sure Stark is out there really enjoying it. Good morning, Casey. How's Odin doing? I know we haven't followed up in a while. I know you were bringing him to the vet, so shoot me a comment or shoot me a Facebook message or a text. Let me know how he's doing and what's going on over there. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to talk a lot. I've seen a lot of posts in the last. First of all, I apologize for not being here last week. I had a family emergency we had to take care of. So I apologize for not being here live last week, but we're back on track this week, and we're going to keep moving forward. So in the last couple of weeks, I've seen a lot of posts. He is on anxiety medicine, doing great, fantastic. I've seen a lot of posts, and I've got a lot of questions about fearful dogs. So I really want to address fearful dogs. Good morning, Maya. I hope I said that right, from North Carolina. Thank you for joining us. So I want to talk a lot about fearful dogs. A lot of my folks that I deal with in the rescue world or in the good morning, Susan, how are you? A lot of the people I deal with a lot of rescues. I help a lot of rescues, especially when I was up on Long Island. A lot of these dogs that are being rescued or being fostered or being whatever, they found arthritis and narrowing in his back, which created the situation. Absolutely. Little backstory on Odin. Odin is a great dog. And he had a couple, I'm going to say nips, because I hate the word biting, with family members. And it ended up because of the arthritis and the narrowing of the spinal column, I guess, or narrowing his back, he reacted to out of pain. So it's something to be careful. Dogs, guys, remember one thing: dogs don't bite for no reason. It's very uncommon. There's a reason dogs bite, and usually, and like I said, I started with this conversation off with fear. Pain is another good reason, especially with the small dogs that we tend to try to pick up more than a bigger dog. We try to pick them up because we can, but if they're hurt, us picking them up can actually create pain. And it's that little dog syndrome I talk about a lot of times. We treat little dogs bigger than different than bigger dogs. And so pain is another reason. Dogs don't bite for a reason. Dogs don't become aggressive for no reason. Usually there's I always say aggression is an outcome of an issue that just wasn't properly handled. I'm glad Hope is doing well. It sucks that you guys are getting 2 feet of snow. Just stay safe, guys. Thank you for letting me know. I got to reach out to my family and people out there, just make sure everybody's safe. I'm assuming the whole world on Long Island right now is closed down, which is good to keep people off the roads. Athena is definitely fearful. I know Rob thinks she's aggressive. She's a fearful dog. That fear has become overpowering to her, and she feels the need to, because the fear was misread, I'm going to say, she feels because of that fear, she has to lash out to protect herself. And slowly but surely, I know you've made great progress with Athena. It works. Anytime you deal with fearful dogs, Odin's on anti-inflammatories, too good. Anytime you guys deal with a fearful dog, it's baby steps. Guys, I can't stress it enough. I've dealt with enough fearful dogs in my career to understand you cannot rush the process. And this is the big thing people have to understand, especially the wonderful people in the rescues, the foster people, the volunteers at the shelters, and all these people that really want to help these dogs. When you're dealing with fear, you cannot rush the process. We all talk about it. Anybody who's on Facebook hears about the decompression time and all that type of stuff. The one thing I don't like with the posts I see on Facebook about decompression time is they put actually a timeline on it. And there is no timeline you can put on decompressing a dog from a situation that they were in, they went to another one, then they're going to a home or whatever. There's no timeline to put on. If you put a timeline on it, you're setting the dog up for failure. It's that simple. Fearful dogs definitely take a longer time to rehabilitate. Michelle says she doesn't redirect at me anymore, though, when she hears the dog next door. She used to bite me every time. Beautiful. It takes time. And Athena's 2 years old. It used to be Athena would hear the dog next door, and the fear or the anxiety or whatever human state of mind we want to put on it, she was redirecting that state of mind onto the nearest object, which happened to be Michelle in this case, because I don't know what to do with myself. And it's a redirection, guys. And redirection is totally different than true aggression. Good morning, Veronica from Northport, snowy Northport. As usual, because I lived on the North Shore of Long Island, I'm sure the North Shore of Long Island is just getting blasted. So when we deal with fearful dogs, everything takes time. You can't rush the process. We all hear the stories. The dog is afraid of men. The dog is afraid of children. The dog is afraid of other dogs. The dog is afraid of a leaf blowing, whatever it is. And I've seen it on videos. I've seen it. Other trainers try to flood the dog with what it is afraid of. So if it's afraid of other dogs, they bring them to a public area with a ton of dogs, and they bring them to their facility with a ton of dogs, and the dog sits there and cowers. Oh yeah, they'll figure it out on their own. Yeah, it works. I don't think it's the most humane way to do it. If I'm dealing with a dog that's fearful of other dogs, I'll introduce a calm dog to it first. I will not flood it with the dogs. We try to do it where I'll use Zoe most of the time, because she's a calm dog, and we'll introduce them to Zoe. We'll go on pack walks together. We do things, and then we try to bring them up to different levels of energy from the other dogs. Because like we talk about all the time, energy is the most important thing. The other thing with fearful dogs that humans have to realize is we can't feel bad for them because of their fear. And I know it's hard because it's heartbreaking when you see a fearful dog. You're walking your dog, a stranger comes over, the dog cowers behind you. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, there's a stranger danger, whatever. The worst thing we can do is, it's okay, baby. It's only, Peter, and Peter's a good guy. And you stop with the conversation, stop with that energy, because it's such a negative energy to the dog. The dog doesn't understand us. So if we feel bad for them, where we're physically how bad we feel from them, they're reading that from us. I'm nervous that my new pup, 1-month-old Shih Tzu, will be scared of hearing the dogs next door. Both my apartment neighbors have dogs that bark often. Okay, it's how you handle that. And I hope I say your name right, Maya. I hope it's Maya. It's how you handle it. We live in an apartment complex as well, and my dog Zoe doesn't react to any of the other dogs barking around her. Why? Because over her 9 years of life, I've conditioned her to not react to that stuff. And the easiest way, especially with a 1-month-old puppy, because a lot of times when we're in our apartments or in our homes with those young puppies, we should have them on a leash tethered to us when they have their free time out of their crate. So what you can do is, if the puppy reacts to the neighbor's dog's barking, is just make a slight correction. No, you're not allowed to react to that. You're allowed to tell them, no, they're not allowed to react to them. But you have to stay calm and don't overthink it. Um, Jackie, I'll get to this because that's a long one. In a second. And good morning, Jackie. Um, so if I had your Shih Tzu here and the neighbor's dogs are barking, and the dog in the courtyard's barking, and the dog's going to react, I'm going to have him on a leash because it is a 1 month old puppy, and I'm going to be nope, and just tell them they're not allowed to. But we're going to stay calm because the calmer we stay with it, the better. I'm not going to pick up the puppy and coddle it and say, it's okay. It's only Fluffy barking. You don't have to react because that's all weak energy to the dog. No means no. Why? Because I said so. And that comes to my no nonsense form of training. It's real important for the dog that you are in control. So if you say no, that means there's no danger. You don't need to react to it, but you have to stay calm. So I hope that made sense. Jackie says, watching from Sound Beach, New York. Yesterday, my little dog followed behind me without me realizing it. Before I knew it, they were running down the street. I went after them. Someone said, if you get on the ground and cry, your dog will come back. So remembering this, I began screaming, crying. Whoops. Hold on, I'm trying to get rid of these little pop-ups that are popping up on here for some reason. Just bear with me, guys. Oh, okay. Um, Cry, I got his attention. He turned around. I had his attention. He was still coming, seemed skittish. So for some reason, I slowly got up in a playful voice, said, come on, Ziggy, let's get the sky and see the chickens, blah, blah, blah. I went back to the house. Beautiful. People need to train the dogs not to go right. Well, one of the things, and you're quite welcome, Maya. Um, Guys, one of the things I talk about, and again, anybody who hasn't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. It's Back to Basics Dog Training. Look for the logo on it. You'll see it's the same logo pretty much that's behind me or up in the upper corner of, there it is, somewhere right around there on the screen. Um, there's a playlist on there, How to Leash Train My Dog, which is really Master of the Walk. And episode 2 talks about threshold management. I know Donna's watching. We did this with Stark, and I use Stark as the example all the time because he's excelled at threshold management. It's, it's real important to teach your dog, especially if Maya, you're still watching, teach the puppy now. Threshold management, which basically says front door open doesn't mean out. Period. End of discussion. It's never allowed to go out through that threshold without permission from mom and dad. And it's a quick video. I really need to focus a little bit more on it to help people out. But threshold management isn't only about the front door. It's about any threshold you decide. Susan said people, nope works. I'll get to that in a second because it's crucial that we understand why we use these commands. So the threshold management part is, yes, it's about front door open doesn't mean out. With Donna, with Stark, we use the threshold in where they were eating. The threshold was the family room for the dog while they were eating, or when they were preparing food, the counter was a threshold for Stark not to go into the kitchen while they were preparing food. Thresholds are wherever you decide, but where I put more onus on threshold management is, of course, the front door. If you have a house with a garage, the door leading from the house to the garage door leading to the driveway, the back door. The real important part, and this goes into what's going on Long Island and up north today, is gate management. Teach your dogs, just because the wind is blowing and the gate blows open, that's a threshold. They're not allowed to cross that without permission, but you got to take the time to do that. And you can use it with the snowdrifts. I believe personally, I had a fenced-in yard on Long Island, and I taught my dogs about the threshold by the fence. The fence line was not theirs. It was mine. You got to give it some space. You're not allowed to be right up on the fence. It takes time. But threshold management, guys, if you watch anything I put out on YouTube, which isn't a whole hell of a lot except for a lot of these lives, subscribe to my channel, find the playlist, How to Leash Train My Dog, go to episode 2, and focus on that. Focus on that. You will stop the stuff that Jackie said commented earlier. The dog snuck out behind me. I didn't see it happening. Should never happen. But you got to take the time to train. They're going to. The outside world is fun, guys. Look, think about the smells and all this stuff for the dog. It's so much excitement out there. Yeah, we're going to go. I love the technique that the trainer said. You lay down and cry. I've never done it. One of the things I do is I always keep a close eye on the dog. I follow, I'll follow, I'll follow. And as soon as they turn around to look for me, I usually run the other way. Because it's the thrill of the chase that they like. If you watch dogs play, what do? Chase each other around like lunatics. So if you change direction on them because you're chasing them and all of a sudden you're going the other way, they're going to chase you. Most of the time, I'm going to say I'm 95% successful when I have had done that. I don't even know if that was English, but you know what I'm saying. So Susan said, people, nope works. No and nope to me are the same thing. I tend to use nope. Because we put a little bit more emphasis in the ope part to get our point across. It's a calm, assertive word. I don't need to explain to the dog why I'm saying it. I know, but staying calm yourself is the most important part. Listen to this man. Thank you. He saved me and my dogs from a life of anxiety and reactiveness. Now we rule the walk with a calm, assertive behavior. Guys, I can't stress that enough. Thank you, Susan. It's very well said. Calm, assertive behavior is going to help your dog, but it comes from you first. Remember, everything we try to do with our dogs is new to them. You want to walk them on a leash, it's not natural for a dog. You want them to not bark at everything, it's not natural to them. You want them not to think of you as a pack mate and play rough with you. That's not natural to them. So you have to take the time to teach. It's like what we do with our kids. We start them in preschool. They go to kindergarten. They go to first, second, third grade, and so on and so forth. Everything's a learning process. It's frightening to have lost him. I'm lucky I saw he got out. Yeah, no, it's phenomenal, Jackie. Work on threshold management. Donna, if you're still on there, you can put the comments how to help you and Stark and your family. Deborah says, good morning, Deborah. My rescue, very skittish, nervous. She has decompressed well with me. Problem, doesn't like men, will bark, lunge, bare teeth, and bite, uncontrollable. Have used the coins in a can, but she will not listen. And it's uncontrollable in that mode. Absolutely. Suggestions, no problem. First of all, guys, the can of coins, not a big fan. Because they learn very quickly. They hear this sound, nothing happens to them. And this is where I say discipline is important in the dog world. Now, again, remember, back to basics form of discipline is never to hurt or scare the dog, period. End of discussion. Don't want to hear it. That word discipline just is a horrible word. But it really isn't a bad, to me, Webster should change discipline. The first definition should be love. You can discipline your dog without anger or frustration. That's the first thing, or fear. In this case, I think as the handler of the dog, it's a lot of fear. Oh my God, a man is coming. First of all, I would suggest, why isn't my thing working? Deborah, is one, I don't know what type of collar or harness apparatus you're using. I do suggest getting a martingale style collar, high and tight behind the ears. You start definitely mastering the walk, that playlist I keep talking about, follow those steps. Everything on the walk has to start off calm. If she's nervous before it starts the walk, be nervous and reactive. So the walk has to be designed around everything being calm. That means to the point where you put the leash on the dog is sitting calmly. You go through the threshold, the dog goes out calmly, not skittish, not bolting out at 700 miles an hour. You're going to slow the whole process down inside your home when you go bring the dog out to public. If you can't control putting the leash on the dog, getting out the door calmly, it's hard to impossible, and I hate that word impossible, to control the dog outside. When you see your dog reacting, one, don't force the issue. It doesn't like men, okay, but you need to introduce men to it. Introduce men, first of all, if you have anybody that you know who is dog savvy. And what I mean by that is somebody who understands no look, no touch, no talk. They're not there to introduce themselves to the dog. Don't do it. Because that's a big mistake we do with fearful dogs is we try, it's okay, I'm a good guy, and we reach down to try to pet this fearful dog, and the dog says, screw you, and it becomes a cluster, if that makes sense. But what you can do is if you walk on a street where it's a quiet street, not a lot of cars, because I don't want anybody getting hurt. And right now, there's no cars on the road anyway up north. I'm not even sure where you're calling from, Deborah. You have a man just stay on the other side of the street. You walk on one side, they go. If you see any change in your dog's normal walk, because there's no man around, we're walking, yay, we're happy, and I'll say, man, one, check yourself. If you're saying, oh, crap, a man, and you start tightening up on the leash because you're ready for the battle, you're actually creating some of that reactivity. What you want to do is say, yes, a man, this is my opportunity to teach my dog. And start watching your dog. And as soon as you see any change in that normal walk, make a very slight, not hard leash correction with your disciplined sound. And this is what Sue was talking about earlier. I use nope. Nope. At the same time, so it would be nope. Whoa, what was that? And they should look at you. Sit. Give her something else to do. The can of coins unlocks the brain for the second. Definitely does, because they hear this noise, but then they realize nothing uncomfortable happened. Remember, I said earlier, discipline should not create pain or should not create fear, but discipline should be uncomfortable. Back in my day, go to your room. Was it uncomfortable punishment? You're grounded. It was an uncomfortable punishment. Didn't hurt me, but it made it uncomfortable for me to make the same mistake. The thought was, make it uncomfortable so you don't make the same mistake twice. And that's what we have to learn to do with our dogs. Where we're dealing with fear reactivity is the first exercise may be the width of the street, 50 feet, whatever the hell the street width is. No, sit, look at me, focus on me. If she's food motivated, give her a treat. Once a guy pass, continue your walk. And then when I say walk about 10 feet forward, both of you turn around, come back the other way, and repeat the process until your dog can just from sidewalk to sidewalk can just pass without any type of reaction. And then slowly you bring it in, and maybe only bring it in a foot to closer to each other, and then 2 feet, 3 feet, and bring it in closer and closer to a point where hopefully you could actually do a walk where it's, the man, your dog. And that's how we're going to desensitize to the fear of men. But the man still can't do the look. No, it has to do the no look, no touch, no talk. All that looking at a fearful dog can trigger it. Eye contact is crucial. Talking to the dog's unsure. Why are you going to talk to it? And touching the dog is definitely off limits if it's scared. So I hope that makes sense. Athena said, I'm sorry, Michelle said, Athena used to play rough, really tough. I couldn't lay or sit on the floor. Now I can, but it took repetition for her to be able to see. Yeah, guys, and this repetition is so crucial. Repetition, consistency. Don't think just because you had a good day where you were able to do everything we're talking about that the dog is cured. It's a process that they have to go through. Eventually, you'll forget you ever had to do it. Don't expect after a day, a week, or whatever that it's good. It takes time. Every dog's an individual. That's why I don't like the decompression timeline. Every dog's an individual. But by doing the techniques that we've talked about, Athena is learning her boundaries. And there's nothing wrong with teaching a dog boundaries. Sue says, because of Back to Basics video on leash management, my staffy has her eyes on me when the door is open. If her eyes are not on me, she's not allowed out. Right? Absolutely. Yeah, and definitely, Deborah. Thank you for following. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Watch that video series I'm talking about how to leash train your dog. It has helped hundreds of people, if not more. I don't even know. I wish people saw some people have given me great feedback on it. I appreciate any feedback you guys give me on any of the videos, even on these lives. If there's something more you want me to do. Melissa says, my dog just wants to meet everybody, but I'm trying to teach him that he doesn't need to. Absolutely. And again, that starts with threshold management, Melissa. If your dog is excited going out your front door, the whole walk is excited. There's no break. And if you think about it, once they get out of their normal environment, the home, there's so much more stimulus out in the outside world. They go nutty because it's just overwhelming. All the different smells, all the different sights, all the yeah. You've got to, not you, Melissa, but you, because you're asking the question, have to learn to teach him when he's allowed to be excited and when he's not. And going for a walk is not the time for excitement. Otherwise, it's a horrible walk in most cases. You know, again, if it's a Yorkie who's excited, who cares? If it's a Athena, 100+ pound Mastiff, that's pain if that dog's excited. And excitement turns to aggression very quickly, guys. And please don't forget that. Because we correct wrong. We correct excitement with tension. So we got to stop doing that to begin with. So if you can learn, episode 2 of my how to leash train your dog, or better in my world, mastering the walk, I've said to people, if you have an hour dedicated to your walk and it takes you 45 minutes for you to get out your front door with your dogs acting like ladies and gentlemen, it takes you 45 minutes. Your walk's 15 minutes, guys, because that's how important that is. It is so crucial to the dog that everything starts with calm. I wish I had it, but I don't know if you guys can see it. You see that cut on my hand? That's for me playing with my dog. Um, I initiated the play. We got a little rough, kids. I'll try this at home. She got me. I said, that's it, enough. She knew that meant calm down. And believe me, that didn't feel good. But that's how dogs play. I expect it. But I brought the excitement out of her. Thank you for subscribing, Melissa. It's the playlist, How to Leash Train Your Dogs in 5 steps, I think I said. I don't even know what it's called. And let me know your feedback on it. I really would appreciate that. But because I initiated the play, I was able to bring the play down quickly once the tooth hit me hard. So it's up to us to control their excitement. Let them know when they're allowed to be excited and when they're not allowed to be excited. Same as kids. What's this? We use the kids. Inside voices. Let's teach them inside. You can't be a raging lunatic like you are outside. Um, Susan said, true, calm walks lead to better behavior overall. Absolutely. I believe personally, 90% of the unwanted issues we have from our dogs, if you learn to master the walk, the way I explain it in my video series, you'll see a lot of the other unwanted behaviors disappear, because the walk that I designed on that playlist is about leadership and bonding. It's about boundaries and limitations. It's all the structure the dog needs to understand you as the human. Your word is golden. Um, and I know, John, I think you've watched my YouTube videos on Mastering the Walk, I believe. And good morning, by the way, John. I hope it helps people. Please give me the feedback if this needs clarification. Oh, I'll redo the whole series. I don't care. I just, want it to work, and I wanted to help you guys. John says, morning, my friend adopted 2 street dogs from Mexico. One of them eats out of the garbage and will take food off the counter. They're trying to spray the stuff they got from Petco. That ain't going to help. A couple of things they can do. One of them, I know when I say, they'll probably turn off the YouTube, the thing. But the first thing is, the dogs are new. They're learning. They're street dogs. We've got to remember, guys, as domesticated as our dogs are here in the United States, when you're dealing with dogs from outside this country, they are not treated the same way that we treat them here in the United States. A lot of them are street dogs, especially from Mexico and some of the islands. There are a lot of street dogs. They don't know the rules that we expect in our home. So you really need to teach them. But the problem is, we feel bad they were a street dog. They had a horrible life. Don't look at it that way. Look at what you're giving them today. Look at what I'm giving you. Look at this mansion that I'm giving you. But in the beginning, they should be tethered to us because they don't know the rules. They should be crated because they don't know the rules. So to stop them from going into the garbage is, you put them on a leash, bring them by the garbage, and as soon as their nose hits that, boom, no. Create the boundary by the garbage. And the same thing with the food on the counter, on the table, on the coffee table. Dogs should not go after it. If you have them on leashes, to teach them, remember, leash is a training tool. It is not a walking tool. It happens to be a training tool we use for a walk, but it's a training tool. So I would put food on the counter, healthy, God forbid, food, make sure it's good for dogs. God forbid we don't want a problem with it. And then set the dog up for success. You put the leash on the dog starts looking, 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 boom, correction. A couple other things, a lot of times dogs won't have these unwanted behaviors, going to the garbage or counter surfing when the humans are around. Wait till we turn our backs on them. With today's technology, set up a remote system, get a um, if you have a nanny cam or whatever, but you can use your smartphones, tablets, and whatever to set up a whole system in your house where you can watch things. Set a camera up where you can watch the food on the counter, walk out of the room right around the corner, looking at your phone, and as soon as the dog starts doing something, no, or nope. It's another way. Another way to do it, which is the one I know is going to get me in a little bit of trouble with some people, is a high quality remote collar. Put it on the dog. Again, using your nanny cam system. Dog goes near the garbage. No. If the dog goes on the count, no. And you're going to make it not to hurt the dog, not to scare. You notice I didn't use the word shock collar. There are shock collars. And the reason I use the word high quality is the high quality ones are humane. They're more like a stim. I know we use it with Hope. It doesn't hurt her. It just is a way for me to communicate to the dog when I don't have a leash on the dog, because I need to have a form of communication when these dogs have these unwanted behaviors. Uh, the remotes, the collars I recommend are, holy crap, e-collar technology, the mini educator. I felt it on myself. It feels no different than when I get physical therapy. The 10 unit thing they put on you. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't scare. There's a vibration setting. Sometimes the vibration, so that you can reprogram it to make a tone. Sometimes that works, but you have to be consistent. So garbage is, we know they're street dog. That's what they eat. So you do the same thing. We also have to put the trash in the baby locked cabinet or pantry with the door shut. Yeah, you got to teach the boundaries, guys. I personally don't like when my dogs are in the kitchen when I'm preparing food, so they're not allowed in the kitchen. By doing that, it kind of took that ooh, smell food, yay, in the kitchen, um, away from my dogs. I've never had a dog counter surf or get in the garbage in my life. I trained from the conditioned them from the very beginning. Those things are off limits. It's never too late though. Um, if you take the time, and John, your friend needs to do this. Start with the leash. If it works, it's great. If not, then I would suggest taking it up another level, because we know the stuff in the garbage, the stuff that's on our counter that it can be deadly to them. We need to save their lives, and I will do that by any means necessary. Another trick I've heard, especially for the counter surfing, is somebody put a loaf of bread on the counter and put some string with empty soda cans in it. So when the dog dragged the bread off, it made all that noise and kind of told them, oh, that sucked. I mean, that's another trick. I don't know. I heard it worked. I never tried it. But it's setting them up for success. Another way you can set them up for success when it comes to counter surfing, and I've done this with my personal dogs too, is I actually put human food on the floor and tell them they're not allowed to take it. And I make them walk away from it. So this way, that smell of the human food doesn't entice them to go up to the counter. If that makes sense, John, let me know in the comments. Um, Susan said, just want everyone to know Leon saved us. um, I watch his live on YouTube because it reinforces. Hold on, I lost the comment. He taught us because humans and animals need reminders. Absolutely. Joan says, I'm having an issue with my almost 1-year-old female who insists on peeing in front of her crate when it is free in the house. She is fine in her crate and gated in the kitchen without an accident. We bark to go out, one out. She has been fine prior to this, started about 2 months ago. She had no UTI. She is still doing it. Um, you went to the vet and checked to make sure it wasn't a UTI, which is a great thing because that's a good cause of it. Um, if you don't catch a dog having the accident, you can't correct the dog. It's hard. What I would consider doing is going back to basics, keeping her in the crate a little bit longer, taking her from the crate right outside. She pees outside, praise, 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 treat, 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 and then bring her in and supervise her right now. keep a good eye on her. If you catch her peeing, of course, firm no or nope, bring her right outside. No treat inside. Don't treat guys when you potty training a dog. Stop with treating inside. Treat outside where they go. Because dogs become too smart and they realize, oh, I come in, I get a treat. I go out, I'll come in, I come in, and Um, yeah, I would definitely almost go back to as if she was a puppy with using the crate a little bit more, making her hold it a little bit longer. The other thing I ask on female dogs, I've heard about it. It happened to one of my dogs. She was older when it happened. Get spayed too early. Sometimes it affects the muscles or whatever it's called that helps control them holding it in. Um, Again, I don't know. I'm not a vet. I've heard of that. There is medicine that helped my dog with it. How it worked, I have no idea. It was a miracle to me. But I would definitely, Joan, go back to basics and start as if she's a puppy, recreate training and going outside with her, which sucks on Long Island right now, but treat and praise up. Is incredible ladylike because of the e-collar and the training with Leon, and trust him, he is not hurting her at all. Yes, makes sense. Great, Melissa. John, thank you. Going to tell him. We'll let you know how it's going. Yes, it makes sense. Beautiful. I've been training Athena with impulse control. Put her on kibble on the floor in front of her and not let her easy. Let her easy till we. Thank you for sharing, Kim. If we say, okay, yeah, impulse control is hard, guys. It's hard for humans. Let's face reality. We see it, we want it, we go for it. Dogs are no animals are no different. Food is a high impulse. There's very few things that I call very primitive to a dog. Food is one of them. They understand the concept of food. It's survival. It tastes good usually, and well, actually, I can't say that because some dogs eat their own. You know what? But it is a very primitive thing. Human food smells a hell of a lot better to them than dog food in their kibble. I'm afraid of crates. There was a good morning, Natty. I'm afraid of crates. There was a wow, people are popping up questions. There was a tragic accident a few years ago when a house broke in fire. A cat escaped. Cage dog burnt. Yeah, there definitely some negatives behind crates. I'm not going to say there's not. I'm not saying crate is a lifelong solution for a dog. I know some trainers that their dogs are crated all the time. I'm not a big fan of it. Um, it's the crate is for the safety of the dog in the long run. It's also to say sanity of the house. Um, Even if you had the dog pendant, God forbid, pendant, and a fire broke out, it can still get trapped. You know, it's scary as hell. But it's actually safer for the dogs so they don't get into trouble. They don't eat things, wires, and other things they're not supposed to be eating. I know, I mean, actually, with today's world, a lot of remote working from home, it's easy to create a dog for the safety. People should have done it more during the pandemic, I think, when we were definitely home with these dogs, not giving them so much freedom. But the crate also creates that safety zone for the dog. Like I've said before, I've crate trained every single one of my dogs. Um, Zoe, when we had the crate set up in the house, went into the crate on her own. I left the door open. She felt safe in there. That was her bedroom. She was fine with it. But she learned from a puppy. Again, when you get puppies and you train them, guys, you can't leave them alone for too long. And I know if it, God forbid, there's a fire, it doesn't take long. Um, but they're far and few between. And I understand how tragic that can be, and I feel real bad for that. In the long run, I do believe the crate is the best thing for the dog. Um, Otherwise, it's harder for us to get them to the point where they don't need the crate, and where the crate comes in mostly is for potty. Look, teach them to go outside. Theoretically, guys, I mean, Zoe is the best example. She was pretty much completely housebroken within less than a month. I didn't worry about an accident with her. And I did have accidents, but I wasn't worried about it as much. And when she had accidents, it was usually our fault because we didn't take her out in time. But if you do the proper way of crate training, then it's not a long term thing. Um, Hope uses her crate for self comfort. Absolutely. Zoe does it too. I know Zoe did a lot in my house when we were up north. When I was in a bad mood, she used her crate a lot more. She didn't want to be around the negative energy because, as you guys all know, I mean, I'll put the blurb up there again that, all the words and all the stuff don't mean anything. Um, Energy is the most important form of communication. Now he says, now I understand why I can't get a dog for adoption because I've always written in the application I don't and never will use crates. Um, yeah, a lot of rescues. I'm not going to tell a rescue how to do anything. I don't tell anybody how to do anything. I make suggestions. Will not adopt out a puppy or a dog if you're not willing to use a crate. It is for their safety. It gives them specific boundaries, which they understand they need those. Um, Again, if you ever had the privilege of watching dogs being born in nature, not with the human intervention, what I did when I was a kid, absolutely, Joan. There was a dog when I grew up, because I grew up when Mount Sinai was still farmland, that created its own whelping area in a barn. The dogs stayed, the puppies after they were born stayed there. Mama wouldn't let them out of that area that she created for, and this is going back a lot of years. I'm going to say a good 3 to 4 weeks after they were born. Once they're got their eyesight and their no hearing and all that. And then for a while after that, the mom wouldn't even let them out of the barn. They had to stay in this certain area, and the rest of the pack then took over once they were allowed out of the whelping area. And that's what the crate should be. The crate should be a comfort area. It should be a safe area. It should never be used as punishment. It's used to help train the dog. The same way I say, guys, a leash is not a walking tool. It's a training tool we use for the walk. The crate is a training tool. And I understand the fears because the what ifs. I personally just can't live my life in the what ifs. Just can't. Um, you know, I, I have to, I will always err on the side of caution when it comes to training my dogs because I want that process to be as successful as possible. Crates definitely help it. I've used it with puppies and I've used it with older dogs that needed to know rules. Dogs we've rescued, dogs I've helped rescue groups out. Um, you know, it just makes it easy. It teaches them boundaries that they don't have freedom. Freedom is a thing that will get dogs in trouble, and I've seen it. People get new dogs, they bring them into their homes. The first thing they do is they put them on the floor and let the dog run all over the house. And in the dog's mind is they claim everything. When I bring a dog into my home, through all my years and all the dogs I brought into my home, including dogs I've helped from rescues, is they go to a specific designated area when they first come into my house, which is usually a crate somewhere I have in a quiet area in my house, and, and they know that for 2 weeks. That's it. That and the path to go outside, where I take them outside on a leash from the crate, on a leash outside. So I start leash etiquette right away. And then slowly I bring them into the rest of the house. I don't give them freedom all the way. Same way, if you think about it, when we have kids and they're at that stage now, they're crawling and they're running and they're doing all this nonsense, we start putting baby gates everywhere to keep them into certain areas that are safer for them. Same theory. And that's what the crate's designed for. So people have, if anybody needs further clarification on the crate, please feel free. You can always text me or email me. Of course, I'll put that information up here too. Um, Text me or email me at these, this information here. I'll be happy to go into a little bit more detail with it. It's real important, guys, that we do the right thing for the dog. And by us staying calm and working on our energy, our fearful dogs, a lot of that stuff can go away. I've seen it, and I use little dog syndrome, where dog already. My dog is free to follow the rules and act like a lady in Leon's rules. Yeah. She's free now, but in the beginning, we needed to be a little bit more structured with her because she took advantage of it. She took advantage of not having rules, and it's no different, guys. Think about it. If you raise your kids and you don't set rules, what happens? Raise the dogs, set rules. And when I say raise the dogs, it doesn't mean you have to get them from a puppy. If you adopt or rescue a dog that's 4 years old, your house, your rules. No, it's not hard after a year. Absolutely not. I don't remember how old Hope was when we first started working with Hope, but it's never too late. And I know this for a fact because I rescue dogs. Uh, Oh, congratulations. Uh, and the same thing, newborn child. I have a different way of introducing the newborn to the pup. I've done this with several clients up on Long Island. Um, she was 3 when we started, and look at this was Hope with Susan. We set the rules at 3 years old, and she's following the rules now. It's never too late. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Um, the way I introduce a baby to a dog is I've met the fathers with the swaddling blanket, and instead of doing what most people do, which is put the swaddling blanket in the dog's bed or right into the dog's nose, I create a 3 foot boundary around that scent. So I'll hold the swaddling blanket. Of course, the dog's going to want to smell it, and when it gets within 3 feet of it, I'm like, nope, that's close enough. That baby deserves that personal space the same way the dog deserves personal space, in the same way I deserve personal space. And then when we bring the baby into the home, everything needs to be based on calm. So when we bring the newborn baby into the house, I don't come in and say, "Oh my God, look at your brother, your sister, hey, look," because they'll get the dog excited. The dog thinks it's allowed to use that baby as a pack mate, and dogs are never allowed to use a dog as a pack. It's 3 months old. Create the boundaries. It's not too late. Babies make noise. I also tell prepare guys, anybody who's expecting, who may be watching or thinking about having a kid, start playing baby sounds before your baby's born, because those sounds are weird to a dog. Get lifelike dolls, the crawling type, so they understand that crawling baby is not prey. There's things we can do to help our dog succeed, so I don't have to read on this stupid thing. I have a new baby. My dog was my baby, and now I have to get rid of my dog. That's bull. Train your dog. Let me rephrase it. It's hard for my husband to add structure or boundary. Yeah, well, I can't control that. I can only guide. Um, Guys, it comes from us. You know, you want the rules, whatever rules you're allowed to set. You don't want the dog on the furniture, the dog doesn't go on the furniture. Simple. But you got to teach it and be willing to discipline. But remember the goal of all this, and I know I said this to Susan, we want to turn those no's or nopes into yeses. But you got to be willing to say no or nope and make it uncomfortable for that dog to hear that sound. Associate that sound, no or nope, with an uncomfortable feeling. Right now, most dogs hear that sound, no or nope, and nothing happens to them, so they're like, eh. You make it uncomfortable. Then they hear the sound, they just stop because they don't want the uncomfortable feeling. Yes. So much better to say yes than no, isn't it, guys? Reality. So, with that being said, guys, this was a great week. I guess snow helped me because a lot of my Long Islanders were inside now gallivanting. Um, if there's no other questions, guys, we're going to wrap this. I appreciate, like always, you guys allow me into your home each and every Saturday. I do truly believe together we can help one dog and one family at a time. I put this offer out to the rescue groups, your fosters together or volunteers together. I'd be happy to set up some sort of Zoom or whatever Facebook meeting room or Google meet and greet or whatever the hell these things are called. I still trying to figure all that crap out. I see something came up here. Susan, thank you for the compliments and all the praise, and I really do appreciate it. I'm glad we were able to meet together. I believe each one of my customers, touch my lives and help me continue to grow. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So guys, like always, thank you for inviting me into your home this Saturday morning, each and every Saturday morning. I really do appreciate it. Stay healthy, stay safe. God bless, and remember, together we can help one dog and one family at a time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys.